Brandon Stadium in Coventry, the British final of the World Individual Championship. At stake, not only the British Championship, but also for the top 8 riders, a place in the overseas final of the World Championship. A lot of attention, of course, focused on Michael Lee as he began the defence of his world title, won in Gothenburg last year. We joined the meeting for Lee's second ride in Heat 8, and the commentator is Dave Lanning.
Well, all eyes will surely be on Michael Lee, world champion, fitting to regain this British crown. He lost to his teammate Dave Jessup. He'll be on the outside here. Here is the lineup. Les Collins from Leicester looking for points on the inside. Kevin Jolly too could do with a boost here. He's in grid 2 from Ipswich. Gordon Kennett can't be too happy with only 1 point from his first outing. He's in grid 3. But Michael Lee made a grease lightning start in his first outing and led from start to finish. He's on the outside in yellow and black. Let's have a look at Michael settling down. Not the greatest stylist in the world, this boy, but my word, he's effective and very, very fast. So they settle down. Collins on the inside, then Jolly. Grid 3, Gordon Kennett on the outside. The lanky, gawky figure of Michael Lee. Let's see what sort of start he makes here in Heat 8. And he has not made a good one. In fact, he's been left in the lead there. It is Kevin Jolly, and so too going around the outside now. Here comes Michael Lee. Lee has moved up. They really are bunching up there. Is Jolly leading in second place? It was Les Collins and Michael Lee in third place, and Kennett still in contention. We really are getting some action here. Michael Lee really putting it all out there, trying the outside run, but he can't catch Collins, and he cannot catch Jolly. He's back in third place, and you really could throw an army blanket over all 4 now, and Gordon Kennett is challenging audaciously on the inside of the world champion. Here is the medal now. Lee has switched to the inside run, but Les Collins from Leicester, reigning British League champion, is moving away. I don't think they're going to catch him as Lee comes powering through and gives Jolly a bump, and Jolly's gone down on the bottom corner with a very, very nasty wallop. They're into the last lap around here. Jolly is still down. That could be a nasty one. They have stopped the race in the interest of safety. It is on the last lap, and it's going to be interesting to see what the referee, Colin Tyrrell, does about that. Well, what did happen here, you can see Lee has come bursting through. Jolly is right out on the fence. He's given it a clip and gone down in a very untidy heap. The action goes on, but it's going to be interesting what decision the referee makes about that little untidy mess. Well, the referee, we still have Jolly down there. That's Kevin Jolly still down. The referee has decided that Michael Lee was just a little bit too forceful coming through there, and he has decided rerun without Lee, and that is a little bit of sensation. Well, Michael Lee, the world champion, clearly unhappy about that decision. He's going out there to talk to Kevin Jolly. They are the 2 riders at the centre of that incident. Doesn't seem to be much bad feeling, and now Lee's going into the phone to talk to the referee. Well, those pictures really do tell their own story. Lee saying, I didn't even know he was there. Well, now we've got Kevin Jolly adding to the fun and games. The other rider involved in that incident, he's now explaining his side of the situation to the referee.
Michael, what's the outcome? Have you been excluded?
Oh, I don't know. It's so ridiculous. Even Kevin's admitting that I haven't touched him. You know, we just went in the corner for a hard race, and what happens? You get excluded. If you can't race in Speedway these days, what's the point in doing it?
Let's take you back and show it to you, Michael. Here you go.
Yeah, well, we've gone out a picture there, but Kevin had moved off the line about 2 yards, and there's just enough of a gap there for me, right? See, Kevin's straightened up on his own. There you go. Kevin had gone by the corner anyway. He's there, you know, he was on his own. That's nothing to do with me.
So you're thinking you shouldn't be, you're saying you shouldn't be in, yeah, but can I just ask you, you're in the rerun. He's back in the re-race now. Well, there you go, Dave Lanning, he's back in the race again.
Well, we really do have some fun and games, because now the referee has decided that Kevin Jolly, the other rider involved in that incident, shall be excluded from the rerun, and we are going to have Michael Lee in it. And he really should give thanks and praise for the sporting attitude of his rival there, Kevin Jolly, whose testimony made sure that Michael was reinstated in the rerun of Heat 8. 3 starters only now. There are those 3 starters. Les Collins will feel a bit aggrieved. He was well away when the race was stopped. He's on the inside. I wonder if he can repeat that performance. Gordon Kennett now in grid 3 in the white helmet colour, and Michael Lee. It's going to be interesting to see just how much that incident might have unsettled him. He's on the outside again in yellow and black. There's Michael. I must say he looked a little bit perturbed when we interviewed him down there in the pits, but he's a pro. I'm sure he'll settle back down and get on with the job now. In Heat 8, the second time of asking. Collins on the inside, Kennett in the white helmet colour, and Lee on the outside in yellow and black. Remember, Michael Lee made a little bit of a mess at the start the first time we saw Heat 8. Let's see what he does here in the rerun. And again, it looks like he might have been left as Kennett gets away, and so too does Collins from the inside. And Lee again is back in 3rd place. Collins leads in 2nd place, Gordon Kennett. 3rd place, Michael Lee. And now Lee trying to power his way through on the inside of Gordon Kennett, but Gordon is a very tight inside line rider. Difficult to pass on the inside. In fact, he's a difficult customer to get by. Inside all right. There is the leader, Les Collins. Well, it's a really justice for him. He was in front and well away when the race was stopped last time, unaware of the drama unfolding behind him, and he's stretching them again here now. Kennett still in 2nd place, but now Michael Lee really coming hard up on to his back wheel. Lee trying the outside run, getting smothered in dirt and flying grime. They're into the last lap, 350 very fast pieces around Brandon Speedway here at Coventry on a beautiful evening. And Michael Lee, the world champion, is only going to pick up 1 point here. 3 points for Les Collins. That really is justice. 2 for Kennett, 1 only for Lee, and we'll never know just how much all the drama upset him. Les Collins takes 3 points, vital to his cause. And, well, let's hope we now settle down and don't have any more problems. They've all had 2 rides now, and there is the leaderboard. John Louis, a surprise there, and Chris Morton, both unbeaten on 6 points. Steve Bastable, Kenny Carter lurking on 5 apiece. Les Collins and Michael Lee on 4, then Dave Jessup and Gordon Kennett on 3 each, and those are the 8 qualifiers at this stage. David Jessup, a reigning champion, but he must be thinking his crown could be slipping away, because he's had a 2nd and a 3rd, yet to win a race. That's a surprise. Jessup, who has switched from Westlake to God of Machinery this year, hasn't looked that happy in his 2 opening rides. Remember, he has a tremendously consistent record in this championship. His 9th final, he was 1st last year, he was 3rd in 1979, he was 2nd in 1978, and he was 2nd in 1977. And here is his teammate, but tonight really fiercest rival, Michael Lee. Michael, of course, was 1st in 77, 1st in 1978, and was 2nd for the past 2 years. He's been involved in some disturbing controversy in his 2nd ride. He's dropped 2 points. So now let's look at the lineup for Heat 9. Jessup on the inside has 3 points, as you can see. Michael Lee there in grid 2, John Davis. And the Reading skippers had an unhappy night with an exclusion and a pretty uninspired 3rd place. And on the outside, Eric Broadbelt at 33, one of the surprising British final debutants here at Coventry this evening. And this time they do get away, and it's Jessup from the inside, and Broadbelt's made a sensational start from the outside. Broadbelt and Jessup together down the back straight. Jessup leads it. Broadbelt is in 2nd place. Michael Lee again coming powering through, and it was just about here that incident happened in his last ride, but he's gone through cleanly enough there. Jessup leads then. In 2nd place, Michael Lee. In 3rd place, Eric Broadbelt, and tailed up at the back, John Davis. So now we have a battle between the 2 great friends and rivals and teammates from King's Lynn. Jessup in front, and Michael Lee right on his back wheel, about a length behind. They've lost Davis on that corner of the pits. He's slid off very gracefully, unhurt. and now Lee has gone tearing through as we pick up the action again. It looks like Jessup slowing. Michael Lee has moved through, and Jessup is slowing and stopping, and that's unlucky. Awfully bad luck. They're on the last lap. There goes Michael Lee in second place, moving up now in his broad belt, and Jessup will have to push to get the third place, and that could be a vital point for him. There is the winner, Michael Lee. Bit fortuitous there, getting 3 points, but where we ask is Dave Jessup, because he's going to have to go home the hard way. He's pushing round for a point. Well, there it is. We often see this in Speedway. They don't look very heavy, these bikes, but it must be getting to weigh like a ton for little Dave Jessup. The engine on that bike is what, about 80 pounds or so. Doesn't sound a lot, but it begins to get heavier with all that gear on. Of course, he's got his steel protective shoe. He's got 3 minutes to complete the action. He must finish in 3 minutes, so he's got a bit of time to spare. But he is going to be out of puff by the time he gets to the checkered flag. He's now about 100 metres away. Here he comes up, and that's going to get the biggest cheer of the night. Dave Jessup, the British champion, getting one single point. It could be a vital one for him, but he's got it the hard way. Well, here's heat 10, and we have the joint leader, John Louis, and the seasoned veteran Tiger in grid 2 here. Inside him he has Gordon Kennett. In grid 3 it is Ian Cartwright, and on the outside we have Kenny Carter, and the two outside riders, indeed all three riders here, John Louis, Ian Cartwright, Kenny Carter, are all from Halifax. So we've got 3 Halifax riders, and Gordon Kennett on the inside of heat 10. And it's again Louis who hits the front. Tiger really is so sharp from the start. In second place it is Cartwright, in third place it is Carter, and at the back Gordon Kennett. Well, soaring through on the inside there we have Kenny Carter, and the 3 Halifax riders are really stretching them here in heat number 10. It's still Louis, but now he's got his young teammate Kenny Carter right behind him. Carter only 20 years old, and Louis, who is going to be 40 on June the 14th, and Carter, the young man, has gone through. It was a very clean and clinical burst through, and a tremendous piece of action. Into the last lap, Carter has come from third to first, showing just why they call him the Crown Prince of English Speedway. Just remember, this young man had a broken jaw in 8 places a little over 2 months ago. Takes 3 points. Second place it was Louis. Third place it was Cartwright. Gordon Kennett in the back there. That's a surprise there, no points. But Kenny Carter in his first British final takes 3 more points, and now he's in touch with the top.
Kenny, tremendous heat for you there. First of all, how is your jaw?
Well, I went to hospital on Monday and had all my 5-6 wires out. And it's, as you can see, if you look at it, if I hold my face up, it's all swollen. And I just come to this meeting that if I qualify, I qualify. If I win it, I win it. But I just come sort of to qualify, but I wasn't really bothered what happened because I was in so much pain. But just, you know, see how we go.
Well, grit your teeth and talk us as best as you can through a tremendous performance. You went from third to first. I think you're second as we pick it up now. In fact, you're lying third, are you?
Yeah, I'm third there, and I got a lot of driving inside and come on inside of Ian. And come under Ian there, and as I'm coming out on inside, I went out to go round John, and I was going to go around John and come back under, but I saw sort of Ian coming, then I got a lot of grip and come around outside. Then I lined up for this next corner to come under John, so I went wide to come back under him, and as you see, I just come under him there on inside. And as I come under him there, I've got the inside line, so I've sort of passed him, and then coming out, I just thought John might have had me coming back. So I just moved out a bit, and then that was it. I got past him and just went on to finish, you know.
Take some of the pain away, a performance like that.
Yeah, well, it's, you know, sort of when you're riding, you don't think about the pain, but when you're saying pitch, you feel it, you know.
Heat 15 could answer a fair few questions here at Coventry. We've got John Louis, one of the joint leaders, the oldest man in the field, but still very sprightly. He'll be on the outside in yellow and black. Got Michael Lee, who's had a dramatic evening. Seems to attract a lot of controversy. The world champion, of course, he's dropped 2 points, so he is back at the moment in joint second place and still very much in touch with the top. In white there, Chris Morton, he has 8 points, so he's one of the joint leaders as well. And we look for the last rider, and that will be the rider in blue. Just across there to Chris's left, there he is, that's Steve Bastable, who has been the surprise packet. There's Bastable. He too has 2 race wins in a second and is one of the joint leaders. So a race win, really something has got to give. Wonder if we're looking at the new British champion. He could well be decided in this race. Lee on the inside, that could be important because the inside grids have been perhaps slightly the more favoured. Lee on the inside, then Bastable, Morton and Louis. You can see the points for yourself. It really is a tight one. Heat 15, the one that could settle the championship anyway. Here we go. From the inside, it is Bastable, and going with him too is John Louis from the outside, and Lee is back in third place, and Bastable leads it. Louis in second place, moving past Lee. It is Chris Morton, and Michael Lee, the world champion, is at the back, and that is quite a surprise. An absolutely tremendous picture as they came roaring into our camera on the third corner. It is Steve Bastable who leads it though. In second place is Louis, third place is Chris Morton. Moving up to threaten John Louis. Michael Lee is making no impression at all at the back. You see the battle for second place there. There's no holding Stevie B. Young man who moved from Birmingham to Swindon. That move seems to have done him the world of good. We're into the last lap. Still it is Bastable. Look at the gap he's opened up. Morton still threatening the outside of John Louis, and Lee making a desperate effort, but on the line Louis just holds on for second place. Third was Morton, but it was Steve Bastable, and that really is a major surprise. Not one of the fancy contenders in and out of the England side this year, but it could be that he could be the new British champion.
Well, Steve, that puts you in front now, and it's down to you in a way now.
Yeah, it's all I came here to do was qualify, you know. Everybody keeps saying, you know, you can win it, you can win it. As I say, you know, if I win the last race, great, you know, super. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm through to the next round, and that's all I want to do.
It'd be great to be British champion, though, surely.
It'd be lovely.
And so after 4 rides each, now we have a clear leader, Steve Bastable, and that is a surprise. Kenny Carter, Les Collins and John Louis in joint second place on 10 points. Qualification assured for those 4 riders. Chris Morton on 9 should be okay. Michael Lee in a bit of trouble there on 7 points. Dave Jessup and Malcolm Simmons, they're both on 6, but breathing right down their necks for those qualification places at the overseas final. We have Eric Broadbelt and Melvin Taylor on 5 each. Well, this is Michael Lee coming into Heat 18, and the world champion really needs some points here because he's only got 7 from 4 starts. He ran a last time out. He needs a couple at least to make sure of a qualification place, and all his opponents here really are in the same boat. You've got Phil Collins, has 4 points. He's on the inside there, and well, a win considerably might squeeze him through. Kenny Carter looks safe for qualification and could still win the championship. Mel Taylor won last time out, and another win here could conceivably put him in the overseas final. And his Kingsland teammate Michael Lee had a bit of an up and down night. Michael won his first race, finished third in his second, won his third race, a bit luckily when teammate Dave Jessup pulled out with engine trouble, and ran a last in his 4th ride. The evening setting in now. The lights beginning to go, but the heat's beginning to get turned up here in the British final. All 4 riders looking for points here in Heat 18. On the inside, Phil Collins. Next to him, Kenny Carter. Mel Taylor, grid 3, and Michael Lee. Really surprisingly here for the world champion in such a desperate situation in his last ride. Here's Heat 18. And Lee has not quite made the jump from the start. In fact, he's back in last place. He's got a nudge on the first corner. Leading it is Phil Collins. In second place is Kenny Carter, just moving past him now. In third place is Mel Taylor. And amazingly, it's Michael Lee at the back. Well, Michael Lee, although we've got Kenny Carter up front, all eyes are fixed on Lee, because if he stays in the back, he might still go out of the World Championship, and he is the reigning champion. And Melvin Taylor, his teammate, rode very wide there. And Lee has moved into third place, and that's a little healthier for him. Still Carter. Maybe this young man has had a success story to talk about. He moves into the last lap. Barring any unforeseen incident, Kenny Carter's going to win it. That will take him on up onto 13 points. Surely will assure him of a place in the extra prize money. Second place will be Phil Collins, and third place Michael Lee. And that could be a vital third place for the world champion, although the crowd rise to Kenny Carter. The talking point there in Heat 18 was the eclipse of the world champion. It was a start that sorted it all out. It looked as though Michael Lee had certainly got out with the boys, and as he went to make the turn, what happened? Well, he just didn't find the horsepower at all, and they all just swept by him on the inside. In fact, it was Phil Collins who led coming out of the corner, and Kenny Carter roaring past him. He really has got some steam, this young man. Lee at the back there, Carter on his way, and a race in Heat 18 that's kept the crowd buzzing here at Coventry. Well, here we have Steve Bastable, a real upset merchant in the 1981 British final. He's only dropped 1 point. He's on 11 now, and a win here in Heat 19, penultimate race in the British final, will make him the British champion. The crowd settle now and wonder if they're going to hail a new British champion after Heat 19. Steve Bastable on the inside from Swindon. A win here will make him champion for the first time, and that would be a really major surprise in British and indeed World Speedway. Gordon Kennett next to him. A win might mean he could squeeze through. Malcolm Simmons, a win for him would mean a qualification place, and the same story can be said for Dave Jessup, the reigning British champion, on the outside. So Heat 19 again is going to solve a few of the problems and give us a few of the answers here at Coventry. Bastable on the inside. Heat 19, the one that can really count. And away they go, and they punch in the first corner, and it got awfully tight there, and Jessup, it is who's come round the outside. Bastable's in second place. In third place, it is Gordon Kennett. So Jessup, just when it was needed, produced the start and the first corner. Bastable is in second place and challenging hard. In third place, it is Kennett. At the back is Malcolm Simmons. And if it stays this way, it means we're going to have a run-off for the title between Bastable and Kenny Carter, who's also finished on 13 points. Into the last lap. Reigning champion Dave Jessup producing the magic just when it looked like he might be in some trouble. He's going to do enough to qualify, and he'll settle for that on the night. Steve Bastable is going to finish second, and that means we're going to have a run-off for the crowd. Well, there are the winning pair. Bastable salutes Dave Jessup. Jessup goes through. Bastable finishes on 13 points. That means at least we're going to have a run-off with him and Kenny Carter, and it's still possible for John Louis and Les Collins to get up on 13 points as well. So still an awful lot to be settled here at Coventry. It really was a hair-raising first corner. You can see Bastable on the inside, and watch Dave Jessup from the outside. He really rides it hard, Gordon. Kenny gets a knock there in the meat and the sandwich, but Jessup it is who goes around the outside. He knew he had to win it, and he really turned it all on around those first two corners. Tremendous action. Well, they always say that the British final has greater parity, perhaps, amongst the 16 contestants in any other round of the World Championship, and this one certainly has, because we have two riders here in the last race, heat number 20, who both are in with a chance of moving into a run-off for the crown. There's one of them, John Louis. He'll be in the red helmet colour, and here's the other one. This is Les Collins in the yellow and black helmet colour. He'll be on the outside. Remember, we've already got Kenny Carter and we have got Steve Bastable on 13 points. Either this man here, Collins, or Louis can join them in a three-man runoff. There is the lineup for Heat 20. Kevin Smith out of the picture, but Eric Broadbelt could be a real spoiler in here in grid 3, because if he wins, he could qualify for the next round. That's the overseas final, so he's got plenty to race for. And if he's second, he can go in a runoff with Ian Cartwright for the 8th qualification place. So it really has been a night for the slide rules, and still a lot of things to be sorted out here in Heat 20. John Louis and Les Collins, the rider to watch. Broadbelt in grid 3 could be the real spoiler right there. Who's it to be then? The start, so crucial. And it is from the inside. Louis Collins takes a bit of a knock and it's back in last place. John Louis leads it. In second place, it is Broadbelt. And in third place, the rider in blue, Kevin Smith, and Les Collins has all the work to do from the back. There's Louis. And Collins has moved up into third place, and he really is battling away. He's on the outside of Broadbelt now. Lap 3, and Collins trying the inside of Eric Broadbelt, and I think he might squeeze through. He's gone past into second place, down the back straight together. Now the battle is on. Can Les Collins possibly get up on John Louis, who's had it all his own way? They're into the last lap, and Les Collins, my word, he's ridden a tremendous race. He's got so much ground to make up. Into the last two corners. It looks like Louis will hold on. What a gallant effort from Les Collins. So Louis wins it, so he's going to go into that runoff for the British title and £500. Les Collins doing enough to go through. Really rode his heart out there. Well, there is Louis. What a night it is for Halifax, because he and his teammate Kenny Carter go into the runoff for first place, and their other teammate Ian Cartwright has grabbed a qualification place as well. Well, there are the 8 qualifiers for the next round, the overseas final, but we still have to sort out who's going to be British champion, because we have 3 riders finishing on 13 points. Steve Bastable, Kenny Carter and John Louis. They go into a runoff to decide the £500 prize, and these other riders, Les Collins, Chris Morton, Dave Jessup, Michael Lee and Ian Cartwright, all going forward. Well, there's Kenny Carter, one of the riders involved in this runoff. What a fairy story it will be for this young man if he can clinch the British crown in his first British final. Remember, he's still only just 20 years old, and just a few weeks ago it looked like his career was over. Here is the rider in the blue helmet colour in this runoff, Steve Bastable. Another real success story for him, because his career seemed to be in the doldrums. He moved to Swindon during the winter, and here he is in a runoff for the British Championship. Really remarkable improvement story for Stevie B. There is the lineup for this championship runoff. A £500 first prize. Kenny Carter, the young man, on the inside. John Louis, the oldest man in the field, in the middle. And Steve Bastable, the surprise packet, on the outside. A 3-man runoff, and it must be said in fairness that they've got pretty fair odds against these 3 being in at this stage before the meeting started. It really has been a meeting of surprises, and we've got 4 laps of pretty hectic action still to come, I'm sure. Louis is used to all this. He was of course British champion way back in '75. Kenny Carter in his first British final. Steve Bastable on the outside. The gate will be crucial. From the inside, it is Carter. Carter leads to the first corner. In second place, coming around the outside, it is Bastable, and Bastable has ridden a beautiful corner there. Bastable leads it. Carter's second, Louis is third. We have seen Steve Bastable come from the back around the outside several times tonight, and that old overtaking magic looks like it's going to work again, although Carter in second place will not stop battling. And now it is Steve Bastable going away. He's opened the lead of some 20 lengths on the Halifax pairing, And barring some terrible disaster, we're going to have a new British champion, and it's going to be a lad that very, very few here thought would take the crown. Steve Bastable on his last lap, and just listen to the Coventry crowd cheer him home. The salute that told its own story. They hardly gave him a hope of qualification, never mind winning it. But Steve Bastable from Swindon Robins is the new British champion.
Yes, indeed, a new British champion, Steve Bastable. Many congratulations to him. Michael Lee just managing to qualify for the overseas final of the World Championship, but England's World Cup squad members, John Davis and Gordon Kennett, failing to go forward. Well, in that overseas final from London's White City, which you can see on World of Sport, in Sports Special 2, in fact, on the 18th of July, the 8 British qualifiers will meet the 4 qualifiers from the Australasian final and the 4 qualifiers from the American final. In draw order, they go as follows. Les Collins of Great Britain, Scott Autry, America, Phil Hearn, Australia, Michael Lee, Great Britain, and Ivan Major, New Zealand, Ian Cartwright, Great Britain, Chris Morton and Steve Bastable of Great Britain, Bruce Pennell of America, John Louis, Great Britain, Larry Ross, New Zealand, Danny Kennedy, Australia, Kelly Moran of America, Dave Jessup of Great Britain, Dennis Sigalos of America, and